The Indie Writers Club podcast is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. Pro Writing Aid has been my go-to tool for revising and refining my writing since my first book. Built by writers for writers, it's more than just a grammar and spell checker. Pro Writing Aid helps you enhance your story's pacing, plot, characters, settings, and more. It can even provide on-demand developmental feedback on your entire manuscript with its new manuscript analysis and virtual beta reader tools. Get ahead of the competition by heading to prowritingaid.com, sign up for free or use the code IWC15 for a 15% discount off annual subscriptions.
It's the Indie Writers Club with Cara Clare and James Blatch. A place to relax, chat, learn and vent about life as an independent author. Get episode alerts and links at indiewritersclub.com. Now, here's Cara and James.
Hello, welcome to the Indie Writers Club. I am Cara Clare.
And I'm James Blatch, here in Las Vegas.
I know, I was waiting to see if you would say that.
Rubbing
it in, I've been getting all these photographs of you all together.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice weather this year. Last couple of years, it's been really cold. I mean, it is the desert, and Vegas is at 2,000 feet, so it can be cold. But it's beautiful, I have to say. In American language, it's like 80 degrees.
I don't know what that means. So you're there for AuthorNation. You're there for AuthorNation in case people weren't aware what's going on in Vegas. I don't know how anyone could not be aware what's going on in Vegas, but It's AuthorNation this week.
It's AuthorNation, and it's the second year of AuthorNation. The conference that took place here at the same time in the same place was called 20 Books in Vegas for 7 years, something like that. And it is the largest gathering of indie authors in the world. Last year was quieter. I mean, it was quieter. And I was worried. I'm very supportive of Joe and Suze, who took over the conference, created AuthorNation. But like the trading day yesterday, the vendor day a year ago, we had like 6 people on the Vinci book stand, and it was really massively overstaffed. Now, yesterday, we were rushed off our feet. It was really busy. It feels completely different, this conference. It is buzzing. There's new people here. A lot of new people seem to have come through via the reader event and learning all about indie. So it feels to me like we may have bottomed out. There has been a kind of compression, I think, of the indie space. We had a big bubble, I guess, with COVID, and it slid down, and we've all noticed it. Everybody's noticed it. I was talking to some other sort of service providers, which I effectively am in this space, and they all said, "Yeah, it's we've all had that." But this feels to me like it's bottoming out, and it's going to start going back up again. So that's good.
It's good to know. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the only sort of certainty side of things. The rest of it is the usual kind of uncertainty based on new technology. So what we're talking about, what we're learning. Still feels, I was talking to Jo Penn yesterday, who's always been ahead of the game on these things, on AI and technology, and she's really convinced we are on the cusp of something that we don't know or understand. That it's going to be, things are going to look very different in a couple of years, which is scary. Things are moving quickly.
Yeah, and I would agree. I mean, if you think about how quickly things have changed, and I think we kind of forget, because a lot of readers at the moment are accusing people of using AI on their covers and for writing their books and stuff. And even 2 years ago, that wouldn't have been possible. And a lot of us are saying that, no, that just wasn't a thing then. And it feels like it's been around forever, but it hasn't. It's just moved so quickly.
Yeah. I mean, there's not much anti-AI here, I have to say. I think the people who are going to make
refreshing.
the effort. Yeah, the people who are going to make the effort to come to a conference have got their ducks in a row, and they're not going to be in that sort of blind, blinkered, I'm pretending it's not happening phase. So really, there's a bit of chat about ethical use, but mostly it's a chat about how to use it. And a detailed session yesterday on AI automation of basically creating, this is next level stuff. And a few people walked out, not because the session was bad, but just because they thought, I can't do this. And I think that's quite interesting, because a lot of the AI stuff has been, by its nature, it's been quite easy to do. That's the whole thing about AI. Suddenly you can say, please write a program for me or whatever. But the next level is going to be more complicated, and you're going to need some skills. So creating scripts that are going to monitor your ads, going to automatically go to, for instance, Amazon Ads API and make adjustments for your campaign based on your stuff, specifically for your books. That's going to require a bit of effort and knowledge and know-how. And I guess an industry is going to spring up around that of people who will do that for you.
Yeah, I was going to say this is another one of those areas where we see other jobs emerging because not everybody's going to be able to do that for themselves. Like just because it became possible to design a cover in Photoshop didn't mean that we all suddenly had the skills to do it. We were still having to employ people to do that for us. And I think AI will be the same thing. Like we'll be able to do all these amazing things, but we won't necessarily be able to achieve that ourselves. We'll need, like you said, someone external to maybe set that up for us.
Yeah, yeah, which is an opportunity for people who want to move
Hmm.
into the service sector. You can specialize in some of these areas. But that, if you think about if that's going to be a thing, if we're going to have scripts running that's going to automatically look at our Facebook ads campaigns and make all the tweaks 10 times a minute and to optimize them, that changes the landscape completely of paid ads. That
Hmm.
levels the playing field for the people who are brilliant at it and nitty and understand it are suddenly going to be at a level with Joe Blogs, who's going to press a button and have AI do all that for them, which is a bit like
Hmm.
what happened, I think, with Photoshop when Photoshop. So I'm a sort of below average Photoshop. I can do stuff in it, I can adjust
Yeah.
stuff, but I can't create in it really,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
the same. Yeah.
quickly gets beyond my capabilities. But when AI came along, it suddenly made me much, much better. The cutting
True.
out
Yeah.
the size. You can increase the size of using generative stuff. You increase the size of your frames, which would have been virtually impossible for. So it takes a below average person to what used to be above average. Um, and I think that's what's going to happen in the ad space. You're going to get below average people who, for running ads, are going to become very good at it, which just moves it up for everybody. And we're not really sure of the consequences of that at this stage.
Yeah.
So
I
early
suppose I
adoption.
think that the control freak in me is like the thought of letting it because I know how wrong they can get it in terms of targeting. Like at the moment, I mean, you would think that Meta's AI would understand what my reels are, but I've started pushing my I'm doing a vampire retelling of Lady Chatterley's Lover, which I started pushing this week. I finally revealed it. And my reels on Instagram, fine, they're going to the right people. My Facebook reels are all going to men who I would say are over the age of 60 who are liking my reels and writing weird
Right,
comments.
right.
So Facebook's AI has understood that these people are going to like to see the video of me holding the book or talking about the book, but they are not my target audience. That is not who. So on the surface of it, brilliant. I'm getting loads of interaction with those and I'm getting like, so that's the bit where I wonder how AI will handle that because the parameters that it usually judges things by are your cost per click, how many views you're getting, what the interaction is. But we all know that if it hits on the wrong audience, then those things don't really matter.
Yeah, yeah. I think that is interesting. I think we're all working out how Facebook is currently working, which it has moved forward into AI
Hmm.
targeting. And I'm running these tests. Unfortunately, I'm slightly delayed on it because I did a week of completely Advantage Plus, a week of me choosing the placements, which is something I used to do all the time, and that currently I'm doing a week of full manual where I've taken control of everything, and I'm just see what the results are. But one thing I've noticed straight away is that I mean, I'm using lead gen ads. The reason I'm using lead gen ads to do this is because you can absolutely quantify the results. You can you can see whether it's successful or not. Whereas if we're sending it to the Amazon sales page, it's always a finger in the air, isn't it? As to whether those sales are attributed to that campaign or not. Um, and early indications are that Advantage Plus is very strong at placements, better than me. So I'm probably in the future not going to restrict my placements just to the news feed and the Instagram feed, but let it place in lots of weird and wonderful places. Um, but once I'd taken over placements, the results really fell away. So I'm not sure if the targeting is as good as it could be. I mean, I think at the moment we still need to be doing some manual targeting.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that you can't, you would think that there should, because we've talked about the conversational kind of relationship with AI before. I'm surprised that there's not an ability for you to just say, in a kind of conversational way, the people who read my books would be like this, or my target
Yeah,
audience is I would think they are this, and then for the AI to use that. But I suppose Facebook still doesn't have the same access that it used to our data, does it? Because there was all that stuff that went on with Apple and iPhones and stuff a while ago. So I wonder whether it's good enough at knowing who the people are. I don't know. But I think it's in a period of flux, isn't it? They're still working it out. We're still working it out. Pretty much everyone I speak to is struggling in terms of conversion at the moment.
Yeah, it is tough at the moment, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It requires constant experimentation at the moment to see where we are and what we're doing. It feels that we're not going to be, I don't know how much longer we're going to have those manual options, to be honest. So I still think the sort of thesis I came up with a year or so ago, and I'm about to do a session actually at 9 o'clock, an hour or two here. It's going to be on content. It's going to be on cover and blurb, because as you say, you can't tell Facebook about your readers at the moment. But so all it's got to go on is the copy you put, the image you put in, which it looks at, the copy you put in, the link you put in as to where it's going to, and it then decides who your audience is going to be. So it's more important than ever. And I think that's 100%, that's going to happen everywhere. AI is going to be looking at our product and linking it to, whether it's on Amazon or elsewhere, it's going to linking it to possible readers. So getting your product right has never been more important. This is not the time to experiment with a cover that doesn't really, that's intriguing rather than obvious. We are getting into the age of obvious covers and obvious titles and blurbs.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's going to be more important than it ever was. And I think we went through a phase with Facebook ads of saying, don't show your book cover, just pick a pretty image that kind of gels with the theme of your book, and just being quite creative with your copy and stuff like this. And it's kind of going in reverse. Like, I think you're going to have to show the book and show that it is a book, and probably mention the word book a couple of times.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think it's a very,
No, it's all right. I was going to ask you if there's been much talk about the generative, what's it called, engine optimization, the geo searching, because I keep hearing loads of people are kind of talking about it at the moment.
Yeah, well, we had a sort of hilarious moment on Tom Donnelly and I played golf on Sunday, and we got paired up with this couple, and one of the guys had his wife with him, and they were from Florida. And we said, "Oh, what do you do?" She said, "Oh, I work in digital marketing." I said, "Oh," and we both think, "Oh, that's interesting." So, what sort of clients? She said, "Anybody with a website, really, search engine optimization is my specialty, and I do like the local tire company and stuff." And Tom said, "Oh, are you getting into generative engine optimization?" She went, "So, GEO run there?" "Oh, no, no." And we thought, okay, you're going to be out of business in a year.
Yeah,
You are going to
yeah.
be out
I
of
mean,
business in a year.
we already know, don't we? And one of our groups that we're in, the group from our retreat, actually, one of the authors said in there the other day that she was translating a title from one of her books, and the content of the book was to do with going on a trip. So chat then asked, would you like some booking.com recommendations in case you'd like your trip to come true? So that's kind of what we're moving towards. And I think it's, again, people who are just kind of digging their heels in and going, no, I don't want to be faffed with that, are going to be the ones left behind. Like, we can't, and this does move so quickly. I don't think it's one of those things where we can kind of put it on the back burner and go, I'll think about that sometime next year, like towards the end of next year. Time will be gone by then. It's time to start looking into it now.
Yeah, definitely. And one simple thing you can do, I think, at this stage is in your blurbs, make sure that you have a sentence at the bottom or the top that describes in plain terms, as if you're an AI answering the question, what's this book about? So this is a romance, it's a Western romance, it's clean and part of a series, etc., etc. And that's going to help AI serve your book up to people who are having conversations with it rather than just typing in, romance author type thing, which is how we're going to be in the future.
Yeah, and like you said, making sure that your package of your book package is correct, and identifying the right people, making sure that your author brand that it's all cohesive, because that consistent messaging is what's going to then help you be picked up. And I think we're both doing this. This is a nice little segue. We're both doing this in terms of we've both recently dipped our toes into Substack.
Yes.
Which I'm really enjoying it as a platform, really, really enjoying it. This is one of the main reasons that I started doing it, is because you can import your subscribers to Substack and you can kind of use it like a newsletter, except it's kind of back to the days of blogging, except it's all in one platform. And I just really love the platform, and I love the way that it recommends things, because Substack's aim is to get people to subscribe to creators' content, because if you subscribe and you pay to subscribe, then Substack get a cut of it. So they're different from other platforms because they're not just playing the game of keeping you on the platform as long as possible, and they're not serving you ads at the moment. They are trying to give people value, so they're trying to recommend you things that are useful to you. But part of the reason that I started using it is because it's allowing me a way to actually really put out there what my brand is, to write articles that tie in with my book. So I'm writing some articles about Lady Chatterley's Lover, the original, why it was banned, all of that kind of stuff. But it's in a very natural, organic way. But it's still kind of, in terms of searching, going to be tying my name to those themes so that it's creating a consistent brand.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Yeah, and I've joined it as well. So started
You've
that.
joined it as well, and I'm enjoying yours because your current things that you're posting are to do with your the saga of Harry and Meghan.
Yes, I can't believe it hasn't turned out to be true. But yes. So Harry, I mean, I am worried about these scams because although everyone I speak to is immediately flags them up and dismisses them. These are emails or direct messages you receive saying, "We love your book, we want to make a film of it," or "We love your book, we want it to be in our book club here in South Carolina," or something. And we see it straight away as scams, but there's no way that these people would be filling our inboxes every day if it didn't work. Which means that as authors who we don't know, who perhaps are embarrassed about it and therefore not saying it, who are parting with cash. So I'm trying to follow a few up and expose them. The first one is this purported contact from somebody, Ben Browning, who, if you Google, left this company actually about a year ago, Harry and Meghan's production company with Netflix. So I have actually got to the point where they're asking for money now, which I should do my blog post at some point later today. So basically they said, yeah, picked up your book. Can we have an email chat? And then they say, we absolutely love your book, Waxing Lyrical, using AI to talk about the actual book, of course, which is why it becomes convincing. They said they need these very tightly formatted documents breaking down the book into acts and for film and stuff that's take a bit of work. Of course, I AI'd the hell out of it. It's quite hard to say. We get responses in. They immediately said, despite not reading any of it, because I put lots of guff in there about the ghost of John Quincy Adams appearing and me working the MI6 gift shop.
Wasn't there a unicorn in there as well?
The unicorn that shot lasers for horns and that the RAF pilot had to fight in Narnia. So they carefully considered everything I wrote, but didn't mention any of that, and immediately said, unfortunately, this is not up to scratch, so you are going to have to use our production company to format it. So basically, they want $955, and then they're going to do a fantastic job and give me a really strong opportunity of my book being turned into a Netflix series.
Thing is, there will be people who will fall for that, because and I say that, and it sounds a bit kind of judgy, and it's not at all, because I think maybe fall victim to that is a better phrase, because it's designed to catch you. That's what they're doing. And it's the same as people who went into vanity publishing because they didn't understand it. They didn't know that if you don't know, you don't know. And even for us, It can be convincing sometimes. And something that's happening to a lot of romance authors at the moment is that they're getting messaged by people on Instagram or TikTok saying, I'm an illustrator, I've just started up in the, doing artwork and character art and things like that. Here's my portfolio, blah, 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 blah. And they're not real, and they disappear, and they're either using other people's artwork for their portfolio, or they've generated a load from ChatGPT or whatever, and then they're going to take a deposit from you for some artwork and then disappear. So, right. And in that case, I would say that pretty much every single artist that I know would never reach out to you because they are so busy, if they're genuine, that they have no need to. They don't need to be cold calling, cold messaging authors begging for work, and they're certainly not only going to be charging you like $50 a piece and making you think it's a good deal to commission 10. But we really are at a point where you have to double and triple check everything, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's a few rules of thumb. If it's too good to be true, it probably is. It's probably the best one of that. Also, I mean, I'll finish my blogging of this particular episode with some sort of checklist that people should go through. One of them is, how have they approached you? In this case, this was a DM on X to me. Well, if you go to jamesblatch.com, if they're serious about picking up a book for a film, this is not a mass. They don't contact, production companies don't contact thousands of authors every year. They carefully select 20 or 30 that they might want to start moving forward with. They're going to go to your website and use a contact form or phone you. They're not going to speculatively. And it was full of formatting errors, that mess. So right from the beginning, there are clues there that this is not right. And then as soon as I Googled the name of the actual producer and saw that Variety magazine was reporting that he left the company a year ago, at that point, you shouldn't be going. Obviously, at this point, you should know it's a scam. But you're right. Of course, they wouldn't be doing this if it didn't work. So there are people parting with these thousands of dollars for them. And they're in a digital marketing game like we are. We send 100,000 impressions out on a Facebook ads campaign for a 5% return, which is not bad. And they probably get a 1% return, but 1% off, they get 25,000 messages out every month. 1% of that, paying $955 each time, is a business. And that's unfortunately where we are at the moment. And it's only going to get worse as AI becomes more accessible to people.
Yeah. And I mean, I will say as well, the flip side of this is that I have a friend who nearly missed out on a job interview and also a newsletter interview because he assumed that they were scams. Because he didn't think there'd be any way that they would be reaching out to email. It's like, so don't automatically assume if they've emailed you that, and it's a famous person or a well-known editor. I mean, Meghan and Harry is a bit of a stretch, but for example, I know some friends who we were all kind of being contacted at the same time via TikTok by Macmillan's new commissioning editor for Romantasy, and she was genuinely going through people's TikToks and then sending out a message saying, get in touch with me, here's my email. But just on researching, she'd been in the bookseller, and there's literally pictures of her, and her email is something at Macmillan, and she's copying in an agent at the same time. So it was legit. But it would seem like you could just dismiss that and go, well, they're not going to be reaching out to me via TikTok. That's ridiculous. So delete. So like tiny percentage of times it does work out. So do your research. Yeah. But I think the way it's phrased is such a giveaway, though. It will be very generic. They're not really like Dear Mr. James Blatch, like whoever really talks like that.
Yeah. Mr. James it is now on the way back. Also,
and very clearly
AI.
Is
the first language.
Yeah, or that they're just using AI to churn something out because it's quite generic, or it's in some sort of data pool and they've just got loads of different names from somewhere. But yeah, I think it's just have a healthy skepticism about things and do your research.
I mean, there are levels of scam. We know, we hear these awful stories about people who get scammed out of their life savings, and they are one-on-one people working very hard with them. Then you get the kind of telephone scammers. I'm calling from your bank, and that's a kind of one-on-one as well. But they go through a lot of volume. They'll have a whole bank of people on phones all day trying to find victims, and then you get this one, which is really got this. The only way this works is on a mass scale, very automated, I think, because so few people are gonna fall for it, but people will. So yeah, you also, because of that, you're going to see those formatting errors and bad language, bad grammar, etc., which are giveaways. But I'll look out for more of them. I'll follow them all up to the point where they want money. I'm not gonna, ethically, I'm just not gonna hand money over to these people to find out exactly what the email address is. I mean, I'll get as far as I can on this. I'll find out where I have to send the money, and I'll ask.
Yeah, and I suppose that is the absolute kind of point where you go no, because if any of these places genuinely are reaching out to you, they're not going to be asking you for money. That's not how this works. Money should be flowing in one direction, and that's to you. Not, if it's an agent or somebody, they'll take a cut, but that's that you never pay them up front. That's just not how this works.
No, and also I'm pretty certain that a proper Hollywood production company doesn't ask the author to do the screenplay or write up the screen proposal and stuff. This is all done by their producers. You might have a say in it, but so I'm doing that, and I guess I'll create a link. So if you go to jamesblatch.com/Substack, that'll take you to these blog posts, and they're all free to look at. They're free to see all my subs. You can pay. You can set it up as a subscription, but I haven't done that at this stage. Okay, so what else is happening this week? Like I say, the weather's nice, so we've had some fun in the evenings. I know you probably don't want me to talk about this. We went to a dinner called Super Freako, which was a sort of freak show, acrobatic circus performance, but comedy whilst we're eating fantastic food, sort of buried in the cosmopolitan. It's very, very smart and trendy. On Friday, I'm going to a Star Wars themed burlesque. Can you imagine how exciting that is?
My God, James, please take care of yourself. Don't have a heart attack or something.
I know. There's a group of 8 of us. They'll have to,
Yeah,
wave a flannel in
you're
my
going to get the
face.
vapors or something.
Yes. Princess Leia turns up. So we're doing that.
I mean,
Went
that
for
sounds incredible. Now I'm jealous.
Yeah, that's going to be good. Went for a run and a hike back. So we ran 5K up the hill in Red Rock Canyon and then hiked back along the trail, me and Ricardo. That was really lovely on Sunday. So pleased it's warm here this year because that makes all the difference, that sort of thing. What else have we been doing? Well, last night was a couple of receptions. So 11 Labs, who are the
Nice.
AI audio people, started by a couple of Polish guys who based themselves in London, but they're a global company now and they're growing really quickly, about 300 employees. Pretty certain they're going to come to the self-publishing show. They're going to be one of our sponsors as well. So it's
Yay.
definitely worth going to the reception for me. Yeah, they are really interesting. I mean, I love playing with 11 Labs. There's a problem in terms of distribution at the moment, isn't there? Because not everybody's
Yeah.
allowing AI voices, but that will change in the future. And there will be distribution platforms that allow us to, at least for most of us, I think, to think, my novella, I'm never going to spend £1,500, £2,000 on getting that voiced and produced and set up on ACX. So I can produce a really good AI version of it, which is for those people who want, you want the novella. It gets us around that cost to entry of that.
Yeah, I mean, I used it recently because I like doing an audio proof of my stuff, but I really hate this, like the word voice. I don't want it to be a proper audiobook, but I want it to be better than just the word, monotone voice. Otherwise, I'll tune out from it. So I used 11 Labs actually. And I used its new feature accidentally. I didn't mean to. I say new, it's just new since the last time I used it, where it will automatically assign different voices for your dialogue and stuff,
Yes.
which was actually pretty good. And it would never, it's never going to replace a human voice. And I wouldn't want to use it for my actual audiobooks that I put out for sale. But like you said, if you've got a novella or something, or if you've got a book that you're not going to do as an audiobook, quite often I have readers saying, I really only can consume stuff by audio. I'm dyslexic or for whatever reason. I feel like it's a shame that I don't have the audiobooks available to them. And this would enable you to do a much better than your normal, standard AI voice version that you could probably sell for cheaper because you've just, done it using this instead of voice actors.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if in a couple of years it is as good as humans and indistinguishable. It's moving so quickly at the moment, which does, if you're a voiceover artist, I know you'd be quaking in your shoes about that, but there's always going to be, I think, particularly the higher end elements of our work, like our full novels that we want to be our front end. We're always going to choose humans over that, even if technically it sounds the same. We will want to say this is a human, this is an actor, and I think companies will always want to do that. So however good it is, it's still only going to be used for that kind of bottom third of stuff that you probably wouldn't have done otherwise.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I would always choose human actors over. It's like which comic book people recently said that no matter how good AI gets, they're not going to replace them with, I can't remember which one it was. I don't think it was Marvel. I think it was the other one. They're not going to be using AI artists instead of human artists. They're still going to choose to champion humans. And I think a lot of us creators are in that position where if we can afford it and we can, then of course we still want to champion other creators. Like AI comes in useful when it's things that we wouldn't be able to pay for otherwise, which is what we've said about the translations as well.
I mean, I wouldn't say never for any of this stuff. It's up to them to say that. But if you think back to animation in the 90s and 50s, beautiful hand-drawn animation, these full-length feature films that took 5 years to draw at Disney. And then in the 70s and 80s, digital animation came along and they grasped that and it produced a new wave of fantastic animated films, the Pixar movies, for instance, which were all digitally created. And now I think Simpsons episodes are done in South Korea or somewhere like that, sort of banks of artists using digital. I think it's South Korea. I have to look it up. But if you look at the end of a Simpsons episode, you see a lot of South Korean names. They're obviously name checked on it.
I haven't watched The Simpsons in years.
No,
I didn't even know it was still.
They're doing a new movie, so we'll see that.
Oh, are they?
But you think, well, we're not going to use AI in this. What would have happened if the entire animation industry had stood still in 1940 and said, we're not going to embrace any new technology, we're just going to have everything hand drawn? First of all, it's just impossible. And second, we would have missed out on the way that storytelling works, the Shreks, as I say, the Toy Stories, etc. They've all come as a result of the ease and convenience of being able to create that digitally. Anyway, so you can't stop technology, even if you think you can. So it
Yeah,
will
and I
happen.
think I feel like something has shifted actually, because I feel like I've been having more conversations recently, which are like, okay, it's out the box, it's here. So what can we do ethically? How can we as creators evolve? What can we do creatively that's going to support other creators, but also embrace this new stuff that's coming along? And I'm seeing, maybe it's because I'm looking in different places, but I'm seeing more conversations that are like that, and that are actually quite positive about how it will open up different doors for creators rather than being like, oh, it's going to be the death of all creativity.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. So there's today, I mean, I will say there's a lot of sessions at AuthorNation, and very often it's quite hard to choose between them. So if you do come in the future, it's best to come have a team of you. Honestly, have three of you, and then meet up between the sessions and go off to three different sessions. Because, and like for instance, I mean, at 9 o'clock, I'm actually presenting a session on the kind of Swiss cheese model of making sure everything's aligned in your book package. I'm up against Tom Donnelly, who's doing deep character Hollywood secrets of powerful protagonists. I'm up
Are you
against
having a
using
competition to see who gets the
yeah,
most
he will.
people?
He's in the event center, the biggest room. I'm up against using AI to make data-driven decisions for authors, marketing for introverts, finding your readers without losing your energy from Becca Syme. Becca's always brilliant. Bulletproof backups, never lose your work again. I mean, there's loads of sessions of which we are just one. Apocalyptic panel we're up against, and that's typical of each group. So I would say it's quite hard if you're completely on your own making those decisions about what to go. But if you have, say you, me, and Robin come next year, that would be a perfect team to say, right, compare notes and
Yeah.
go off to three different sessions and come back. Apart from obviously, I have to go to the one I'm presenting.
Yes. Well, you're not in the team. We'll get a sub for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, talking of which, I better go because I've got to rehearse my presentation. It's
Yeah,
7
I was
a.m.
going to
now.
say, why are you hanging around here? What
Show you
time
a
is it?
bit of my Las Vegas
Oh,
out
look at
there.
that.
You
You
can
can't see
see
the
the
sphere
mountains.
then.
I don't know. I think you can see the sphere. I'm going to show you the mountains though. And what I mustn't do because I'm on the 33rd floor is drop my laptop because that would kill somebody.
Oh, God, yeah, no, please don't. And destroy your laptop. More importantly, the person thing, but
There's the mountains over there, which is lovely.
I don't know why I'm leaning my head round as if I'll be able to see around the corner.
Sphere, I think the sphere is blocked by that big building there, which is one of the partner buildings to where I am. But anyway, that's my view. It's a
And
long way down.
you're not actually back in England for a while, are you, though?
No, I'm going to do because my kids have look after themselves now, and when they were little, it's a bit unfair to spend a lot of time away because
Yeah.
there's a lot of work going on. But now they're kind of left home, and I said to Jill, I'd like to extend my trip, and she was happy about that. I think so.
And she went, yes, go for it.
Yeah. Behind Jonathan Samuels, who's a Sky News presenter, he also does a bit of travel writing on the side. He writes to the Telegraph and Mail and Sun, I think, and they commissioned him just to whatever do something unusual, like a new five-star hotel in Morocco or something. So he goes off on these freebies and writes them up. And he's been invited on a cruise out of Fort Lauderdale on the 16th of November. And I was due to come back on the 9th, so I just thought, well, I'll just get an Airbnb in Fort Lauderdale and work there for the week, like a digital nomad, because we don't have to be in any one place to work. So I'm intrigued to see how
Exactly.
that goes because I'd like to do more of that. I like being, first of all, I like being warm.
Yes.
And second of all, I like seeing different parts of the world. So ideally, that would be with my wife and dogs and stuff. Just to have the odd week here and there where you're not sat in the same office in the garden. I'm going to
Yeah,
try
and
and
I
do
think
more.
that's one of the things that a lot of us kind of work towards, isn't it? And one of the reasons why we want to be self-employed is, I think we talked about this on our full-time author episode, where actually one of the perks is that you can go, you know what, I can go and work in Italy for a week if I want to, because I can actually do that, just take my laptop. That's one of the things I would like to do more next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we can organise little working and reading retreats, can't we? We can just book somewhere in Florence
Yes.
and say to people, come and join us for a week and do that
That
sort
is
of
a
thing.
fabulous idea. I've seen people doing that a lot now. Actually, I saw an article about it the other day about how reading retreats are becoming more popular, where people literally just pay to go and read books all weekend, because it's so rare now that we actually kind of give ourselves that protected space. And I was like, oh, I quite like the sound of that.
Yes,
Just going with the specific purpose of reading books.
I do need to read a new book. I'm having slightly disturbed nights here because of the jet lag. You wake up at 2, 3, 4, 5, and once it's about 5 o'clock, I don't get to sleep again. And sometimes in the middle of the night, I read for 15 minutes to sort of try and get you to sleep again, which works. Apart from the fact my book I'm reading at the moment is a factual book about the death of Hitler. That's not conducive to falling back to sleep and not having a settled next hour or so of having these disturbed dreams about Hitler's bunker and the last hours of his life. So I need a new book.
Yeah, no. I mean, has anyone got any recommendations? Send James your book.
I've got Dean M. Cole. Dean M. Cole, who's a writer I've read in the past, and I met him in Florida 2 months ago, has sent me his new book to beta read. So I'm going to start reading that.
Okay, let us know how it goes.
On that
All right.
Bill,
Good luck with your presentation. Yes, good luck.
Thank you.
You'll be fabulous. And I'm doing the Patreon Q&A without you. So
2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, we won't miss you. It'll be fine. We'll have lots of fun. We'll record it for you though.
All right. Have a great week.
All right. See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Support the podcast and get exclusive access by joining our Patreon. From just $1 an episode, you'll be invited to our Discord server, where the weekly discussion continues every day. And our 2 top tiers include a monthly live Q&A with James and Cara. Head to indiewritersclub.com/support. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. We'll see you next Friday.
The Indie Writers Club podcast is sponsored by Pro Writing Aid. Built by writers for writers, Pro Writing Aid doesn't just check spelling and grammar. It helps you enhance your story's pacing, plot, characters, settings, and more. Now it can even provide on-demand developmental feedback on your entire manuscript with its manuscript analysis and virtual beta reader tools. Give your writing a competitive advantage by heading to prowritingaid.com. You can also sign up for free or use the code IWC15 for a 15% discount off annual subscriptions.